and welcome to my 2025 Healthy Holiday Bake With Me. I am so excited for today's video. This video is definitely a tradition here on my channel. This and my Healthy Fall Bake With Me have become two of my absolute favorite videos to film each and every year. I do have an entire playlist dedicated to my previous year's Healthy Holiday Bake With Me's if you would like to check those out after you watch today's video. But the reason that I came up with the concept of making these videos is because I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's thyroiditis at 24 years old. And it was in June when I was 24, I was diagnosed, and I remember this was 17, coming up on 17 years ago. 17 years ago, there was not an abundance of information. Instagram didn't exist, or if it did not look like it did today. YouTube was not like it was today. Information on the internet was not what it was today. And so I remember going to the library and teaching myself about being gluten-free and dairy-free and reducing inflammation and doing all of these things to work with my autoimmune disease. And so that summer I had spent so much time and energy pouring into my health. And then I vividly remember walking into Thanksgiving, the first Thanksgiving after being diagnosed, and looking around. And I had recently gone gluten-free, dairy-free, and vegan. And so there was truly no food that I could eat. And I remember looking around and thinking, this is my favorite season of the year, and there's not one thing here that I can eat. And so when I came up with the concept of the Healthy Fall Bake With Me and Healthy Holiday Bake With Me, it was because I never wanted you or anyone in your lives, maybe it's your sister, your sister-in-law, your cousin, who's been recently diagnosed and or is just on a health journey, to ever feel the way that I had felt on that Thanksgiving. And so today's recipes are definitely that. Sure, we're using some coconut sugar, maple syrup, we're using different ingredients. If I used butter, you can always substitute it for coconut oil, or you can substitute it for avocado oil. But my goal when I came up with the concept of these videos was to bring beautiful seasonal flavors to everybody, regardless of where you are on your health journey. And so I am so excited for today's video. So I'm going to go through the menu with you girls, and we're gonna get started with our maple chai loaf because this one takes a little bit more time. And I do typically split this video up into 2 days of filming. That way we still have good lighting, even though it is 9:30 in the morning and there's not very much good lighting here in the Midwest right now, but there's better lighting and I'm not filming until midnight. So for today, I think we're gonna start with the maple chai loaf, which is a really delicious one, and I'm so excited for that. And then I think we're gonna do our coconut snowflake mini cakes. So they are mini coconut cupcakes, and they are so cute and so festive. Then on the menu as well, we have our cranberry pistachio energy clusters. These are a good one for us moms when we're busy in the kitchen, if we're working on school projects, we're wrapping presents, we have a million and one things on our to-do list. Having these delicious little energy clusters in your freezer or in your fridge are a great pick me up. Now for the video today, I am going to drizzle them with white chocolate. You can absolutely abstain and you don't have to use the white chocolate if you want to keep them a bit more nutrient dense, but I'm making them indulgent for the video. But I have made them when I was recipe testing without the white chocolate and store them in the freezer. Then I would pull out 1 or 2 of them to have in the afternoon with like a cup of tea, and it gives you that perfect little boost to get through the second half of your day. Then from there, we have our hot cocoa cake bars, and these are definitely my kids' favorites. They love these ones oh so very much. They are absolutely as delicious as they sound. And then our almond maple shortbread star cookies. These are so good, so adorable, and honestly, girls, I think that you are going to love every single recipe in this year's 2025 Healthy Holiday Bake With Me. So I have here behind me my almond flour, and I have our loaf pan started, prepped, ready to go. So I'm going to grab out our oat flour, all of our chai spices, our baking soda, and all of our ingredients, and set all of that up, and then we will assemble the maple chai loaf together. But first, let's go ahead and preheat the oven. 1/4 cup of melted coconut oil, and I'm going to add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then we're going to whisk in 2 eggs. We're going to add a 1/4 cup of milk to that and some maple syrup. And then we will fold everything into our dry ingredients and toss it into our loaf pan. Okay, now we're adding in 1/3 cup of almond butter. I also recipe tested it with macadamia nut butter, and that was equally delicious. So you could always switch to macadamia nut butter or cashew butter or peanut butter, whatever your preference is. But because we're using almond flour, I'm just going with the almond butter. So as I was saying when I opened this video and I was sipping on my bone broth, that these days are truly one of my favorite days to film this content. But it's a lot. It's a lot of like prepping ingredients, then washing everything in between, and it's a lot of standing up and moving around my kitchen. Like, it's actually a very full 2 days. Like, sometimes one filming day, if I'm doing 3 recipes, will take me 8 hours. So I have been really mindful over the years when I film these videos to be sure to take care of myself. So I already had my greens this morning. I took my early morning supplements, and I've had my full eggnog latte. I switched over to bone broth. I'm hydrating with mineral water. And now at this time, as you can see, I'll actually flip off the lights behind you guys, because now you girls can see for 10:20 in the morning, it is very dark outside. And so in the winter months, I am always conscientious of my vitamin D levels. The video before this, we went over my labs. The last couple of videos, we've been going over my labs. We've been going over my magnesium, my folate, my vitamin D. We've been going through my labs, and my labs are in optimal range. And that is because I am very conscientious of doing the things that make me feel my best. That is ultimately what got me here today. Being diagnosed with Hashimoto's at 24 years old, having zero understanding of what that was, immersing myself in the library to deeply understand, eventually going back to study health coaching, and then from there going on to get multiple master's degrees in nutrition. That is what's got me here today. So deeply understanding my body and doing everything I can to feel my best. And so when it is, almost 11 o'clock in the morning and it's this dark out, I'm super conscientious of my vitamin D levels. And as we move into these darker months, and as you may begin to experience a little bit low mood, low energy, seasonal feelings of feeling low and not your best, it is so important to optimize your body. And so right now at this time of day, I'm going to be taking 5,000 IUs of vitamin D, and in order to properly synthesize your vitamin D, you need magnesium. Magnesium, so often we think about it for deep, restful sleep. And while yes, it does play a critical role in getting deep, restful sleep, it also plays an imperative role in ATP and mitochondrial health and enzymatic properties that help your body synthesize hormone precursors, which is what vitamin D is. And so as I take my vitamin D, I always take one of my BioOptimizer's magnesium breakthroughs, and then I take a second BioOptimizer's magnesium breakthrough right around 2:45 in the afternoon with a cup of tea or a bone broth and an energy bite. It's a really great way for me to kind of bookend my workday before the kids get off the bus. And then of course I take 2 of the BioOptimizer's magnesium breakthrough right before bed to get the most incredible deep restful sleep. So I'm going to take my vitamin D and my magnesium and do a reset of the kitchen before we get on to our next recipe. But right now, if you haven't tried the magnesium breakthrough, or if you need to stock up, there is no better time than right now. Right now, BioOptimizers is running their Black Friday Cyber Monday deal. It is the biggest discount of the year. I highly encourage you. I know I will be absolutely stocking up on product because both Kaya and I take this every single day. So we go through a bottle very quickly. Like truly we go through a bottle so quickly. So now is the perfect time for all of us to stock up on our magnesium breakthrough. So I will have my link as well as my code for you in the description box down below, as well as that first pinned comment where you can grab and you can absolutely stock up on the magnesium breakthrough to get you through the next couple months, especially in these darker months. Our hormones need magnesium so bad. We are so dependent on having adequate levels of magnesium to synthesize our hormones and our hormone precursors. So I will have that link for you as well as my code in the description box down below where you can go ahead and stock up on the magnesium breakthrough. Okay girls, our bread is done and it smells delicious in the kitchen. So I'm gonna bring it over. Oh my goodness. It smells so good. Let's cut her open. Perfection. Okay, so the texture is absolutely perfect. So this is definitely more of a dense bread because we did add that almond butter in. We also used almond flour and oat flour, but that little almond butter does add the density. As you see, the chocolate chips that I sprinkled on top, I actually ended up mixing them in, but let's give this a taste. So good. Okay girls, we are now going to move on to making our mini snowflake coconut cakes. These are so cute and so delicious. I do have a mini little cupcake pan. These are the ones that you don't need to line because of the texture, the gold touch. However, I do have the cutest tiny little mini cupcake liners that I'm going to use, but you could just well oil this and they would pop right out. Also, when you use something like the gold touch from Williams Sonoma, it doesn't stick once you let it fully cool, but I am going to be using this tiny little liners. So I have our ingredients here. I have 1.5 cups of almond flour. Let me move you, I feel like the lighting. So much for filming in the middle of the day because of good lighting. It is 1 o'clock right now. I had to take a call in between, so I was on a conference call and then I just got back in and I'm like, it's getting even darker, but we're gonna crank these out before the kids get home. So I have 1.5 cups of almond flour, then I have 1/2 cup of coconut flour. I have baking soda and salt on top. So we're gonna mix all this together in a bowl, all of our dry ingredients. We're gonna mix our wet ingredients up and then fold in some shredded coconut, bake them, and then also sprinkle some shredded coconut on top. Okay, so I have 1/3 cup of coconut oil. I'm going to be adding in 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract to the coconut oil. Then we're gonna crack our eggs, whisk that together, and then pour in 1/4 cup of maple syrup, and then top all of that off with some coconut milk. girls, so I'm doing a dusting of additional coconut on some of them. Sawyer preferred it without the coconut on top. She liked the coconut inside the cupcakes, but not on top. So I'm only gonna probably do half with coconut for myself, Kaya, and Ronan, and leave a few of them without the coconut because we also do have kids coming over tomorrow night for a play date. So I feel like a lot of kids don't love shredded coconut, but it definitely gives it that snowflake effect. Good morning, girls. Welcome back to day 2 of my healthy holiday bake with me. I am just finishing off my greens and doing a sweep of the kitchen from breakfast so we can get started on our day 2 recipes. I was watching the footage back from yesterday and it dawned on me that I never mentioned that with this video and with all of my healthy bake with me's, there's always a complimentary PDF that you can download that has all of the recipes for you. So I watched the footage back and I was like, Jessica, is this your first time doing this video? Spoiler alert, it is not my first time doing this video. So yesterday was a productive day. I definitely have to say there was a lot happening. There was a lot happening in the office, in my emails, and so I was kind of being pulled in a million different directions. For today, I'm so excited because I am here. I've gotten everything checked off my to-do list late last night and early this morning so that we could roll up our sleeves and dig in for our day 2 recipes. Girls, we're gonna start off strong. This is the one recipe that my kids, when they got home from school, they were like, did you make them? Did you make the hot cocoa bars? And I was like, I didn't do that on day 1. So today we are starting off strong with our hot cocoa cake bars. So this one is so easy to pull together and you can make it in a variety of ways, meaning like the toppings. So when I was recipe testing, I did toppings with whipped coconut cream, whipped heavy whipping cream, and then I even crushed up some candy canes, mixed it into the batter, and then added a few candy canes on top. So the options are endless with this one, but it is exactly like it sounds, hot cocoa essentially in like a little brownie cake bar. So I'm using 1 full cup because we do want like that thicker brownie like texture. I am going to be using almond flour. So I have 1 cup of almond flour. I have salt in here and baking powder. Then I have a 1/4 cup, but I mixed it. So now the recipe calls for baking cocoa, which you can absolutely use. But what I did is I did half baking cocoa and half cacao powder. So cacao in and of itself is very rich in antioxidants and polyphenols and is incredibly nutrient dense, to be honest with you. It also is rich in minerals like manganese and magnesium. So I just did a mix. I did half cocoa, so cocoa, baking cocoa, and then half cacao to get to the 1/4 cup. Then I'm going to be mixing in some chocolate chips and some cacao nibs, so kind of like a mix of both, just to bring up the nutrient density a little bit. Then we have 2 eggs here, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull out the bowl and whisk together all of my dry ingredients, and then we're gonna whisk our eggs, our milk, our vanilla extract, mix everything together, and toss these ones into the oven. Okay, so we have a 1/4 cup of coconut oil melted, by the way, girls. I just had one of our snowflake mini cupcakes. It's like a little treat for myself. And while I'm not allowed to pick favorites, I have to say, I think those are my favorite out of all of the recipes that we'll be putting together. So those are the ones that I put together the second recipe yesterday. Also, the maple chai loaf is insanely delicious. It has like a crispy layer on the outside. When I reheated it this morning for the kids, I spread a little bit of almond butter on top of it and then I sprinkled on some hemp seeds and some flax seeds this morning for them with breakfast. And they had some Amy Lou chicken sausages. They had like half a slice of that and some fresh blueberries and strawberries. I popped it in the oven on air fry option, and I did it for like 3 minutes. But I digress. I was saying that the coconut, The snowflake little cupcakes, mini cupcakes, I love those because I love coconut. I love coconut flour. I love the coconut dusting. I love the shredded coconut inside. What made me think of it was the smell of this melted coconut oil. So we are starting with a 1/4 cup of coconut oil. You can absolutely substitute this for melted grass-fed butter, but because I'm going lower inflammation, low dairy, no gluten, all of those things, we are using coconut oil, but grass-fed butter would be equally delicious and indulgent. So we have a 1/4 cup of melted coconut oil. Then we have 2 eggs that I'm going to crack and whisk into here, and then some pure vanilla extract that I'm going to add in here as well. Mix all this together, add in our coconut milk and also our maple syrup, and then we'll fold it into our dry ingredients. When I tell you my kitchen smells like a festive dream, there is zero exaggeration. It smells like Santa's workshop right now because of these hot cocoa cakes, which I haven't sliced into. I'm letting them cool here behind me, and then I'm going to remove them and slice them, and then we'll make up either our coconut or our heavy cream whipping cream. I think I'm gonna go heavy cream this time, and then add some little candy cane sprinkles on top. But I've just made an electrolyte. I posted this on Instagram yesterday and it went crazy. So I have it linked for you in the description box down below. My little mixture, everybody was messaging me like, that looks so refreshing, that looks so delicious. Yes, and yes, it is. But now it is time to move on to our cranberry pistachio energy bites. These ones are so yummy and so good. And I've had these in the freezer for probably like the last 4 or 5 weeks, a few different variations of these because I was making them when I was recipe testing. I did it with pecans, I did it with walnuts, I did it with almonds, and then I landed on the pistachios. So as I recipe test these things, I toss them into the freezer because I make a whole bunch of different variations as I'm testing out these recipes, and I start testing them. I'm going to be honest with you, I started testing these the first week of October, and in August and September, I was testing out the recipes that we did for the healthy fall bake with me in August and September, and then October, I start testing these ones. So I have been having these in the freezer, and then I will pull like 1 or 2 of them out at like 210 or 215. I'll put it in a little glass bowl, like honestly, like this little glass bowl on the counter. And then around 2:45, when I make a tea and I have my magnesium breakthrough, I've been enjoying 1 to 2 of these little energy bites. So these are delicious. Now on the final version for today's video, we are going to be using some melted white chocolate chips to drizzle over top of them. If you're looking to make these, it's not for a holiday party, it's not for a gathering, then you can feel free to not use the melted chocolate chips. If it's something you want to have every day around 2:45 with your tea and your magnesium, you can feel free to not do the chocolate chip drizzle. I think you should. It's delicious. Honestly, it tastes so good. But if you want to make it like a healthier version, you can feel free to leave this out. But we definitely aren't going to be doing it today because we are going all out for a healthy holiday bake with me. So I have 1 cup of whole rolled oats that I did just pulse in the food processor really quickly. Like honestly, I think I hit it 2 times. I think I hit it 2 times. The reason that I did this is it's just like a preference for the kids. I noticed Ronan's fine with it, but I noticed when they're like the big whole oats, like Sawyer will be chewing on it and chewing on it and chewing on it, and they kind of get like stuck in your teeth. Whereas if I pulse it a little bit, it makes it a little bit easier. So I do have these. I have 1 cup of whole oats. Then I have a 1/2 cup of our pistachios here that are shelled, that I took the shells off. Then I have 1/3 cup of dried cranberries. These are unsweetened. So I would encourage you to look for unsweetened when you're looking for your dried cranberries. Then I have 1/2 cup of almond butter, but you can use peanut butter, cashew butter, macadamia nut butter, but I'm using almond butter. So we're gonna mix all of this one together in our bowl. It is no bake, which makes it super easy and super simple to throw this recipe together. So we're gonna mix all of these ingredients together in our bowl and then start putting together our little cranberry pistachio energy bites. Okay, girls, so if you were gonna keep this as just like a regular everyday snack, you could leave it as is and just pop these into the fridge for like 20-30 minutes to harden up, and then I store them in a stasher bag. And again, I like to throw them into the freezer, but honestly, you'll go through these pretty quickly. So you could just keep them in a stasher bag or in an airtight container in the refrigerator. But because it's the holiday season and we're making it decadent, we are going to go ahead in the same saucepan, melt our white chocolate chips and drizzle these over top. Okay, well, my energy bites are in the fridge setting for 20 minutes. Now is the perfect time to make our topping for our delicious hot cocoa cakes. So when I was recipe testing, I did this with full fat coconut cream, the organic one from Trader Joe's. And I just whipped it in the Beast, like I'm going to do now. I just whipped it in the Beast with 1 tablespoon of pure vanilla extract in the mini Beast blender, and then I stored it in here and I sliced it, and then I would just individually put on the cream when I would serve it. You can, for the video, it would look pretty if I would just do the entire thing, but for storing purposes, and because if you ever have to re-whip it, it's better to store it in an airtight container separate than your mini cake. So that's something that I do want you to be mindful of if you make this one for the holiday season, for any of your gatherings with family and friends. But for today, I'm actually going to do this with heavy cream. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take 2 cups of heavy cream, 1 tablespoon of pure vanilla extract. I'm going to put that into the Beast blender, blend it up together, and then when the kids get home here in a second, they'll be home here in about 20 minutes. Then I'll go ahead and individually put on the cream on top of each of their individual slices. That way when I slice and cut up the cake, because as I'm baking so much over yesterday and today, the fridge starts to get packed. And I know you can feel that when you're entertaining for the holidays, you want to be mindful of the space that you have. 1, mindful of space, and 2, in case you have to re-whip it, it's better to just store it in a small glass container or in your Beast, your small Beast container with this little lid, and then you can always toss on the blender and re-whip it at any time to help give it those peaks and that fluffiness for when you want to serve your mini hot cocoa cakes. Okay, girls, the kids are home. So far, so great, according to them, but let's give this a taste. So good, so refreshing. I love it with the cold, heavy whipping cream. The coconut cream was equally delicious, don't get me wrong, but the freshness of the whipping cream gives it like the milk or whipped cream on top of a hot cocoa. So this is definitely a huge hit. Okay, so I've just gotten everybody off of the bus settled. I've gotten all the backpacks and lunch boxes cleaned up. So now we are going to jump into our last recipe. And this one is so delicious and so easy to pull together. And as you can see, the sun has even graced us with its presence for a little bit this afternoon, which is so nice. But we are going to make our almond maple shortbread stars. These ones are kind of a twist on a classic sugar cookie, but they do give that shortbread texture and taste, which is so delicious and so good. You can either frost these ones, kind of like a Christmas cookie. You can do a dusting of powdered sugar. Both would be delicious. right, girls, one thing I will say is that you do want to be sure to refrigerate this dough. Chill it in the fridge for at least 30 minutes. 30 minutes is honestly the bare minimum. 40 to 45 minutes will give you the best texture to work with. You have to move quickly because you're either using butter or coconut oil. Midway through, if you have to, roll it back up and pop it in the fridge for another 20 minutes. That way you can work cleanly with the dough. So if it starts to get really sticky, I don't think you should add more flour because it makes it a little bit chewy and gummy. I'd rather you pop it back in the fridge for a few minutes to help rework the dough, and then you can roll it back out again. These stars are so sweet and so cute. You can do a little bit of powdered sugar on top, and of course, if you wanted to, you could frost them like little cookies. So when I did recipe testing, I used my smaller, it dawned on me, I used my smaller star cutout, so it gave me more cookies. So midway through, I switched over to the little gingerbread men. That way you can get more cookies out of your batch. But these massive stars are so cute and so delicious. It kind of gives that sugar cookie feel to it, but it also is a bit shortbread and dense and delicious. One thing I will say, and I know I said this earlier, you do want to be sure that you make sure you chill your dough. Otherwise, it will be nearly impossible to work with. So I want to thank you girls so much for hanging out with me the last 2 days, and make sure to download the free PDF ebook where you can grab all of the recipes. And I appreciate all of your support with my 2025 Healthy Holiday Bake With Me. And if you liked this video, you can let me know by giving a big thumbs up. And now the subscribe button is right over here on the screen. Give that a click. That way you don't miss a single video. And I hope to see you back here next Thursday.